How's it going, YouTube? This is Skul, and welcome to my video game pickups for the month of February 2020. I apologize that this is a few days late. I was just so busy with real life, I just didn't get a chance to record this until now. But hey, on the bright side, I did have a few people reach out to me and ask, "Hey Skul, what are your video game pickups for February?" So, at least that tells me that some of you are actually here paying attention. Oh boy, where to even start? So these three piles here are a lot of stuff all from one person. I'll get to those at the end of the video. So let's see. I'll actually start with, let's go ahead and start with this. This is Pokemon Blue version for the Game Boy. And this is a very special copy of Pokemon Blue because this is a German copy, as in this is a Pokemon Blue version from Germany. So the reason I bought this is because every time I've gone to my local retro game store since maybe October, this has been behind the glass, no one has bought it, and I decided at some point in January, you know what, if it's still there the next time I visit, I'm going to go and buy it. So the next time I visited in early February, it was there, so I bought it. And now I have an odd little, a little thing to add to my oddities of Pokemon games, which I'll probably make a video of someday. In the same vein of Game Boy stuff, I got a Game Boy Pocket from Japan. This is the very first Game Boy Pocket that I own, and unfortunately, when it came here, it was in just terrible shape, had really bad burn-in on the screen, it didn't even turn on. So I decided it was a fun DIY project to try and clean up and make work again, and I got it completely working, except that while I was cleaning the screen, I somehow ruined the ribbon cable, and now it turns on, but it doesn't display an image, which really sucks. And unfortunately, Game Boy Pocket screens are designed in such a way that the only way to fix that is to just replace the screen entirely with another screen from another Game Boy Pocket, so not worth it. At least I have a Game Boy Pocket now to add to my collection of video game consoles, but man, and it was only $5 on eBay. I can't complain too much about it, but man, I'm so mad that I did that. That's a rookie mistake, and I did that to myself. Speaking of oddities from other countries, actually, this was from him too. I better put that in that pile. Okay, so how about let's go to some Wii U games that I got. Now, these are the two that I bought that were not from this guy. So, I really wanted to work on my Wii U collection, and thanks to all of them that you see here, I'm now up over 70% of a complete North American library. I'm not missing many now. Anyway, so the ones that I decided to pick up just on my own were Brunswick Pro Bowling and Lego City Undercover, which when it came out was a Wii U exclusive, and it was widely considered one of the best third-party exclusives on the Wii U for a while until it got ported to all the other consoles. So, those were just super cheap on Amazon when I picked those up. Anyway, let's go ahead and show off my Switch games that I got, just because I didn't get many. Let's see, so I ended up picking up a really old game that I was missing, the Banner Saga Trilogy, which, unfortunately, only the first game is on the cartridge itself. The other two you need to download from the internet, which sucks, but at least I have another game that I was missing. Skullgirls Second Encore, which I pre-ordered over a year ago, and this is exclusive to Skybound Games' website. I pre-ordered it when I was trying to go for every single Switch game day one. That's how long ago this was. Finally shipped, finally arrived. Glad that I have that. Skullgirls is a really, really fun game, though, so totally worth it to get it. I also got two games from Limited Run Games this month. One is called Wonder Song, and this is the Best Buy cover. So I've explained this before. Sometimes Limited Run Games releases their games, especially their Switch games, in Best Buy with an alternate cover for those of you who missed out on buying it from their website. And I'm not really buying their games anymore. I'm not buying most limited print games anymore. There's just too many. I'm done trying to keep up, and I know I'm going to suffer for it later if I want to go for a complete Switch collection, but I just can't do it. So, but when they release in Best Buy, I'll pick them up. So, Wonder Song is one of them. And this one, Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger IX, and this is one of those games that Limited Run Games made that is not a part of their numbered collection. So, like, for example, Wonder Song is number 49 in their Switch collection. Gunvolt Chronicles is not a part of that numbered collection. It's just a game that they distributed. They're just printing way too many games. I'm not even going to try and hide my annoyance at them and every limited print company. There's too many of them. I'm done trying to keep up. But anyway, that's what I got for the Switch this month. Only 4 games total. How about that? This month, though, we got Animal Crossing coming out. So anyway, early in February, I went to Florida to see a rocket launch, and I have yet to edit and put up that video on my channel. Sorry, guys. But while I was there, I decided to do a fan meetup at Cybertron Games in Orlando, which I have done before. Great people. Last time was fun. This time, no one showed up. So I decided just to apologize for wasting their time and getting stuff set up by buying some stuff from them. The number one thing I got was this Atari 2600 joystick. And I've owned an Atari 2600 for, I think, 2 years now, but I never actually owned a joystick for it. I've always been using a Sega Genesis controller. Anyway, I got this. It works great. I opened it up and cleaned out the inside. I burnt myself when I was resoldering some stuff, but anyway, so it works great. Super happy to have an official Atari 2600 joystick now. So whenever I play Missile Command and E.T., it's as the developers intended. I also got some video games from them. So, I actually got my very first ever PSP game. It was just something cheap that they had that I decided, that looks good enough. Hot Shots Golf Open T. Like I said, my very first PSP game. I don't even own a PSP yet, but I decided while I was getting a PSP game, why not get a PSP UMD? So I picked up Spider-Man 2. UMDs stand for Universal Media Disc, and this was a way for you to watch these movies on your PSP. And these were fully licensed. It's the full movie. These were on the shelves just the same as DVDs and VHS tapes and just all that stuff. And UMDs are actually kind of collectible. So I decided, you know what, I'll get a PSP game and I'll get a UMD. So if I ever do get a PSP, I'll be able to watch Spider-Man 2 wherever I go. And I also decided, since I was there and getting stuff that was a first of for me, so my first PSP game, my first PSP UMD, I'm going to pick up my first Sega Master System game. And I got this cartridge, which comes with both Hang-On and Safari Hunt. So the Sega Master System was the system that came out before the Sega Genesis. This was called the Mark III in Japan. And this was an NES competitor, and it did not do well in the United States. I think at its peak it held maybe 2% of the market share, but overseas it was huge. Like, the Sega Master System in Europe was bigger than the NES, and in Brazil it is still big. They are still making games for this system, and this came out in the 80s, so I've been meaning to pick up a SMS game for quite some time. Seemed like a good time to do it. Ended up spending not that much for everything while I was there, and it was just good overall. And while we're on the topic of UMDs, when I was on my own, I just picked up Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, the UMD, so I'm on a Final Fantasy VII high. That game is coming out next month, the remake, and I decided, you know what, they made a UMD for Advent Children, may as well pick it up, so I did. And now on to all of this. So, one of the biggest members of the Nintendo Switch collecting community is JP Switch Mania, and on Twitter over the last few months, he's been selling off a lot of his non-Switch stuff, and I decided to get in on that. I'm pretty sure I actually got in on... Yeah, last month I picked up essentially his entire Magnavox Odyssey 2 collection, for example. So if you watched last month's video, same guy. He sold me all of these Wii U games, and all the games in this stack too, so holy cow. I ended up spending a lot more money than I should have, but it was still way less than if I were to go and get these games used from GameStop, so he was incredibly reasonable. We came up to a really good deal that was beneficial to both of us, and yeah, thanks to him, like I said, I now own over 70% of the Wii U library. Almost everything I'm missing now is just, it's going to be super easy to get. Like, I think I'm missing 50 games total, something like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and show off one of the easiest things to talk about. This is a Bleach game for the Nintendo GameCube, and it is a Japanese exclusive game. The reason I got this, my wife loves Bleach, and this is a fighting style game, so you don't need to understand Japanese anyway. And yeah, so I mostly got it for her, not for me. That's the only foreign Japanese game I own, actually. Anyway, so then the rest of the stuff in this stack is stuff for the old Sega systems. So here we have a Sega Saturn CD sampler, and those of you who are my age might remember this, but those who are younger, during this era of gaming, especially when CDs became the norm, companies would just like throw out CDs with demos of all sorts of games. Like you could pick up a magazine with a CD that had like a demo of 10 games for the PlayStation, and you would play through the demos, see if there's any games you like, and if you like those games, then you would just go and buy the full game later. It was genius. They handed these out. These were completely free, or close to it. So this Sega Saturn sampler has a ton of playable demos for various games and some video clips, and I don't have a Saturn, so I don't know exactly what's on that, but a little piece of Saturn history right there. Okay, so the other stuff that he sold me in this bundle anyway. So we have a few games for Sega CD, which I'm trying to build up my library for. I don't own a Sega CD either, but it's on my list of stuff that I want to get soon. So NBA Jam, which is actually a super fun game, and I've heard the Sega CD port is one of the best ports for it, so really looking forward to playing that. We also got Wheel of Fortune, and the way these old Sega consoles work, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, is this stuff that I got is like the most common of stuff. Anything that's not the most common of stuff is ridiculously expensive. Like, one of the most popular games on the Saturn is Nights into Dreams. It was one of the best sellers on the console, but it's still a $60 game nowadays. It's not cheap because the console in general is not cheap. So all the stuff that I got is like the cheapest of the cheap, and that's why I ended up getting all this stuff, the most common of stuff. Like, for example, on the Sega Saturn, Madden 97, the most sold game on the Sega Saturn, or at least as I understand it. And it's Madden. I mean, what else can you say about Madden? But it's a Saturn game I was missing, and it's probably one of the cheapest I'm ever going to see, so may as well pick that up. Also picked up NHL All-Star Hockey on the Sega Saturn, and one more Sega Saturn game, Virtual Open Tennis, which actually, as I recall, this one isn't really good. But anyway, then the last game in this pile, Corpse Killer for the Sega CD32X. So there were a total of 5 games, technically 6 if you count a Long Lost Game in Brazil, that require both the Sega CD and 32X, and Corpse Killer is one of them. So thanks to this, I own 20% of the CD32X library. Thanks, JP. Because that's totally a library that everyone needs to have. Now it's time to go over all the Wii U games he sent me, and I'm probably not going to take the time to show them all here on screen just because there's so many of them that would take forever. So I'm just going to rattle off the names of them, and most of them are just shovelware or things that I don't really care that much about to comment on, but if there's something there that I do care about, I'll let you know. So we got Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, Disney's Planes, Disney's Planes Fire and Rescue, Darksiders 2, ESPN Sports Connection. Hard to believe that was actually before Disney owned ESPN, I think. Funky Barn, which looks like a mobile game that got ported over. Game Party Champions. Hot Wheels World's Best Driver. Jeopardy, America's favorite quiz show. Just Dance Kids 2014, which was the absolute last Just Dance game that I was missing on the Wii U. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Winter Games Sochi 2014. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, which is still in its shrink wrap, actually. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. NES Remix Pack, which is also still shrink wrapped, and this is the Nintendo Selects version, so I'll probably try and get a non-Nintendo Selects version later. New Super Mario Bros. U. Phineas and Ferb, The Quest for Cool Stuff. Pikmin 3, which obviously it's a classic on the Wii U. Can't believe I didn't own it until now. Rayman Legends. Rise of the Guardians, and if you guys have never seen this film, it is a beautiful film from DreamWorks, just absolutely gorgeous. Scribblenauts Unlimited. The Smurfs 2. Don't really care for the Smurfs. Sonic Lost World. I'm getting... I think I might have all the Sonic games on the Wii U now. If not, I'm missing only one or two. SpongeBob SquarePants, Plankton's Robotic Revenge. Super Mario 3D World, and this is also the Nintendo Selects version, so I'll probably get an original later. Wheel of Fortune, and finally, Wii Party U. So, thanks JP for all of that magnificent stuff. Really helped me with my Wii U collection, and that does it for my February 2020 game pickups. Please let me know what your favorite thing was. It's really hard for me to pick, honestly. Just so much stuff. So much stuff. I'll be back next month with a lot less, I promise. Trust me, I'm not going to spend this much money again in one go. Probably ever on video games. At least I hope not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Here are my patrons for this month.